All right, we're going to solve some radical equations. The way we solve radical equations is to isolate the radical term, and again, radical just means this symbol. Isolate the radical term to one side of the equal sign. You can leave a coefficient in front of the radical if you deal with it correctly, okay? Square both sides of the equation. You would cube both sides of the equation if it was if you're taking the cubed root, right? If you're taking the cubed root, cube both sides. If you're taking the square root, square both sides of the equation. And it may require you to FOIL to square both sides of the equation. Solve the remaining equation and then check your answer because for some radical equations, the x value that you get will not work, okay? So number 2 says find the real solutions of the equation, the square root of x minus 4, the square root of the quantity x plus 4 minus 4 equals 0. I'm going to write it over here, should have more space. The square root of x plus 4 minus 4 is 0. Okay, we want this part alone. So we're subtracting 4 right now. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And I get x plus 4 squared equals 0 plus 4 is 4. Good. Now that I have this alone, I'm going to square this side. Anything I do to that side, I do to this side to maintain equality. That squared cancels that square root, and I have x plus 4 equals 4 squared is 16. No need to plus or minus when we're making the square, right? If we were taking the square root, we would add the plus and the minus. We don't do that when we're just squaring because there's only one answer for 4 times 4, and that is a positive 16. Now we're just going to solve it for x. 4 is being added, so I'm going to subtract 4 from that side. Anything I do to that side, I do to the other side to maintain equality, and we get x equals 16 minus 4 is 12. So for number 2, our answer is x equals 12. We can always put that into the equation to make sure it's true, okay? Thought I was clearing it. All right, so we have the square root of 12 plus 4 minus 4, and we should get 0. We got 0. Good? Okay, number 3. The square root of 4x minus 3 equals negative 3. So I've isolated the radical term on the left. I'm going to square it to get rid of the radical. That got rid of that, so I'm left with 4x minus 3. Negative 3 squared, negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. Good. Now we just solve for x. X is being multiplied by 4, and 3 is being subtracted, so I'm going to add 3, and I get 4x equals 12. Divide by 4, divide by 4, x is 3. X is 3. Let's make sure it's true. The square root of 4 times 3 minus 3 is 3. Uh-oh. Did I not write it down right? All right, if the only answer you get is not true, you say no solution. Right? And if we look at the equation, we're taking the square root of something and we're getting a negative 3 as our answer. So it does make sense that there is no number that you can take the square root of to get a negative 3. So we're just going to write no solution for number 3. And that's also why it's really important to check each answer after you find it. So number 4 is x equals 7 square root x. We want to get this alone on this side. It's being multiplied by 7, so I'm going to divide it by 7. Good. And what my answer is x divided by 7 is equal to the square root of x. Now, that's alone. I want to get rid of the square root, so I'm going to square it. Square that side. What I get is x squared divided by 7 squared equals x. What's 7 squared? 7 squared is 49, so that's x squared divided by 49 equals x. What can I do now? I can multiply both sides by 49. To get rid of the fraction. And I get x squared equals 49x. Now I'm going to set it equal to 0. Subtract 49x, subtract 49x. And I've got x squared minus 49x equals 0. Now I'm just going to go back to the assignment we were doing before this assignment, right? I had x squared equals 49x. I got it all to one side. I made sure my leading term is positive. Now I'm going to factor out anything that is common to x squared and negative 49x, which is an x. And I have that was x squared minus 49x equals 0. I'm going to factor out an x. And I get x times x minus 49 equals 0. Now I take each of those terms and set them equal to 0. X equals 0 and x minus 49 equals 0. Add 49 to get both sides and I get x equals 49. So my two answers are x equals 0 and x equals 49. Let's make sure that they are both true, okay? So here, let me input x equals 0. 0 equals 7 times the square root of 0. Is that true? Is x equals 0 true? 7 times the square root of 0 is 0, so that is true. That is one answer. And then the other answer was x equals 49. So does that mean 49 equals 7 times the square root of 49? Is that true? So I just put 49 in for x and 49 in for x on the other side. 7 times the square root of 49 is, 79. 7 times the square root of 49 is 49. That is true. So those are both true solutions to x. The equation is true if I put in 0 on this side and 0 on this side. The equation is true if I put in 49 on this side and 49 on this side. Here I have the square root of 22x minus 33 equals x plus 4. Let me rewrite that. All right, I've rewritten it so I have more space. The radical is isolated on the left side. So I'm going to do the opposite of the square root, which is squared. Now I've got the square canceling out the square root, so it leaves me with 22x minus 33 equals x plus 4 squared doesn't mean x squared plus 4 squared. It means x plus 4 times x plus 4. So with that first step of isolating the radical and getting rid of it, that's just the first step. Now we're going to combine everything into a quadratic equation and then solve that quadratic equation, okay? The first thing is we can't combine anything on this side, but we can FOIL this side to see what we've got on this side. X times x becomes x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 4 times x is 4x. And then 4 times 4 is 16. 22x minus 33. Now we're going to move these. Well, first we can combine in like terms. X squared plus 8x plus 16. 22x minus 33. Now I want to keep the leading term positive, but I want to put all the terms to one side. So now I have a 22x over here, but I need it over here. So I'm going to subtract 22x from both sides. It gives me negative 33 equals x squared. Negative 22 plus 8, or 8 minus 22, is negative 14 plus 16. I'm going to move that 33. It's being subtracted, so I'm going to add 33. Add 33. It's a like term with 16, so that's why I stacked it. 0 equals x squared minus 14x. 16 and 33 give me 49. Now I've got x squared plus 14 plus 49 equals 0, and we're just going to solve the quadratic equation. Good. Let's see if we can just factor it. So to factor it, we're going to say it needs to multiply to equal a times c, and it needs to add to equal b, right? What are some factors of 49 that would give us a negative answer when we add them? Negative 1, negative 49. I think it's just negative 7 and negative 7, right? Negative 7 times negative 7 would be 49, and negative 7 plus negative 7 would be negative 14. So we're going to say x squared minus 14x plus 49 becomes x minus 7 times x minus 7, right? Now solve each of those. X minus 7 equals 0. Add 7 to both sides, and x equals 7. X minus 7 equals 0. Add 7 to both sides, and x equals 7. So we got the answer, x equals 7. Make sure it's true, right? We're just going to put it in. So the square root of 22 times 7 minus 33 is equal to 11 on that side. And then 7 plus 4 is 11, so it's 11 on that side. 11 equals 11 is true. So that is a good answer for number 5. Good. All right, number 6 is negative 6 plus the square root of 28x minus 28 equals x. I'm gonna copy it down. I want to get this alone on this side. Right now, 6 is being subtracted from it, so I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And I get the square root of 28x minus 28 equals x plus 6. Get rid of that square root. I take the square of both sides. So that leaves me with 28x minus 28 equals x plus 6 times x plus 6. Again, we're going to FOIL it. Leave this side alone. 28x minus 28 equals x times x is x squared. X times 6 is 6x. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 6 is 36. So that's 28x minus 28 equals x squared plus 12x plus 36. 28. This is positive, so we want to move the terms over here so that the x squared stays positive. We'll subtract 28x. It's a like term with 12, so I put it under the 12. So I get negative 28 equals x squared minus, what's 12 minus 28? Negative 16 plus 36. Now I'm going to add 28 to both sides. And I get 0 equals x squared minus 16x plus 36 plus 28 is 64. All right. Now we've got 0 equals a quadratic equation. Let's see if we can factor it. We want two terms that multiply to equal positive 64 and that add to equal negative 16. Well, I know that 64 is 8 times 8. So if I do -8 times -8, that's a positive 64. If I add -8 plus -8, that's a negative 16. So I'm going to say 0 equals x minus 8 times x minus 8. X minus 8 equals 0. Add 8 to both sides. X is 8. That'll be the same for that one, right? Those are exactly the same. So the answer is x equals 8. And let's make sure it's true over here. So that would be -6 plus the square root of 28 times 8 minus 8 should equal 8. Is that true? -6 plus the square root of 28 times 8 minus 8, sorry, minus 28. I wrote that wrong. Gives me 8. So that is true. So we can say that the answer is x equals 8 for number 6. Number 7, we're doing a cubed root, okay? So we have the cubed root of 5x plus 1 is -5. We've isolated the cubed root on this side. We're going to cube it. Anything I do to this side, I have to do to this side. The cubed root of 5x plus 1 cubed is just 5x plus 1 equals, be very careful with the cubed roots because -5 cubed is -125. So you can get a negative if you're multiplying -5 times -5 would be a positive 25 times -5 becomes a -125. Good. Now we're just going to solve for x. So -125 equals 5x plus 1. Subtract that 1 to get 5x equals -126. X is being multiplied by 5, so we're going to divide by 5. And we get x equals -126 fifths. And that is our answer. We do need to check it. X equals -125 over 5, not 2. The cubed root of 5 times -126, I wrote that wrong, divided by 5 plus 1 should give me -5. So that's how I know that that answer is okay. I'll rewrite it. X equals -126 over 5. And that is how we solve radical equations. Thank you.